Hi, this is Karyn McDermaid-Rolfe, and I'm an independent advisor with Creative Memories. Thank you so much for joining me on my YouTube channel for this demonstration video. Today I want to show you a technique for making these beautiful inside fancy frames. That's kind of the name that I've been calling them. This is not a new idea. There are several videos out there by other Creative Memories advisors on how to create these beautiful frames out of a 12-inch by 12-inch piece of designer paper. I've liked this technique so much, and I've used it in the past on several layouts that you can find on my blog at karyncrops.com. But I thought that it'd be interesting to see if we could create this beautiful fancy frame in a smaller scale to use as a photo mat. And I played around a little bit, and we can. It creates a beautiful result. So let me just show you how to do that. And I will come back and talk about that larger piece in a minute in case you haven't seen that technique before. So to make our smaller little fancy frame, we're going to start with a 6-inch by 6-inch piece of designer paper. It's important to use designer paper for this technique because we will be folding it and punching through 2 layers, and it's very difficult to punch through 2 layers of cardstock using this technique. So I recommend the designer paper. So again, start with a 6-inch by 6-inch piece, and then we want to cut a hollow frame out of this piece, and we want the width of the frame to be 1.5 inches. So you want a 1.5 inch frame all around the perimeter of this 6-inch by 6-inch piece. So what we're going to do is lay this on our Creative Memories trimmer at the 1.5 inch mark, and I'm using the ruler here to the right side, and I have it at 1.5 inches. So I want to start cutting at 1.5 inches because I want to leave a 1.5 inch space from the top. So that means I will put my blade housing unit till the bottom right corner is at 2.5 inches. That will give me a 1-inch space from where it will start cutting. The blade will start cutting where the white line is on the housing unit. And if you can see, there's a ruler or measurement here on the arm of the trimmer. It's hard to see the 1.5 inch mark because it's covered up by the blade housing unit. But we know that the blade housing unit is 2 inches in length here. So from the white line to the bottom right corner is 1 inch. So that's why we're going to move this bottom right corner to the 2.5 inch mark to start our cutting, because that means the blade itself will actually start cutting at the 1.5 inch mark. Okay? So let's put this, again, we've got it in the trimmer at 1.5 inches, and I'm going to move the housing unit here to the bottom right corner is at 2.5, and I'm going to press, and then I'm going to start cutting. Now I want it to stop cutting when it gets to 4.5 inches, because again, I want to leave a 1.5 inch frame from the bottom edge. So if I want it to stop cutting at 4.5, I'm going to move the blade housing unit to the bottom right corner is at the 5.5 inch mark. Okay, so I'm starting at the 2.5 inch mark here on the bottom right corner. I'm pressing and cutting until that bottom right corner is at 5.5. I'm going to open my trimmer. I'm going to give my paper 1 turn. I'm going to line it up at the 1.5 inch mark, and I'm going to do that same cut again. So I'm going to move the housing unit to 2.5. I'm going to press, and then when that bottom right corner gets to 5.5, I will stop. I'll give it another turn, line it up at 1.5 inches, come down to 2.5 inches, and cut till I'm at 5.5. And 1 more turn to do the 4th side. So we'll just do that the same way. And now we have a perfect little frame that has a 1.5 inch width all around it. So now we're going to fold it on the diagonal, lining it up as precisely as you can when you fold it. I can see mine is off a little smidge. Let's see. I could do a better It's probably because I think my 6" by 6" square was maybe not exactly perfect. It might have been off that little smidge if you can see that dark line. I'm not going to worry about it though. I think this will work. I'm going to turn this now so it makes an L shape. So I like to look at it this way as an L. And we're going to punch on this inside edge of the L. And we're going to use the Mandala Border Punch. This punch is now sold out with Creative Memories, but I know that many of you have it. There are many advisors who still have some in their personal inventory that are selling this punch. Plus, this technique will work with many of our other border punches. So I'm going to hold it upside down like a handheld punch, and I am going to put this piece, the L piece, and I'm going to cut on this edge. I'm going to put that right into the punch like that. And I'm looking here and I'm pulling it down, and I'm going to push it up until just the points of the punch are covered by that designer paper. So every little tip there has some designer paper right around it. And that's where I'll make my first punch. I'm going to squeeze it, turn it upside down, and punch it. I have one punch. I'm going to turn it on its side, and I'm going to do it with this other edge. So again, I'm going to bring it down far enough, as far as I can, until just that designer paper, till all the tips are covered by it. And I've made another punch. I'm going to open it up at this point, and I'm going to refold it on the opposite diagonal. And when I fold it, I'm trying to match up these punched out pieces as precisely as I can, so when I continue punching the pattern will match up. So again, we have this kind of L shape, and now we're going to work on these inside edges. We're going to cut this piece, we're going to punch this piece, and we're going to punch this side also here. So the same thing, I'm just going to put it in. This time I'm looking here to my bottom tip so it can continue there with the pattern that I've already punched. And now I'm going to turn it on its side, and I'm going to get this end the same way. I'm kind of centering it there from the first point and making sure all the little tips are covered by the designer paper. And then we're going to punch. Now we're going to have the big reveal. Let's see what it looks like. Voila! Isn't that beautiful? What a pretty little frame. Very, very pretty. So you can fit a square photo inside or a photo that you've cut into a circular shape. So let me just show you a layout that I've created using this technique. And I've used the Boho Escape collection from Creative Memories for this layout. So you can see I've got the beautiful little frame. I have my photo cut into a circular piece, put in the center there. And then I took one of the little square pieces, and I cut it apart into 4 pieces, and I put the little fourths in the 4 corners there of my layout. So just with my scissors, I cut those off and then placed them in the corners. And I put that on the diagonal. So it's very lovely. If you'd like to see a close-up photo of this layout, please go to my blog, Karyn, and it's Karyn with a Y, KarynCrops.com, and you can see this layout close up. I've also created more layouts using the beautiful Boho Escape collection and the Mandala Punch for my recent virtual weekend retreat that I've held. And I'm offering access to the page classes that I offered during my retreat to all of you. So for a $20 fee, you can have access to 7 page classes. They are all recorded on video, and they all include a printable handout. So if you go to my blog, you can and scroll down, you'll see the information about how you could purchase access to those page classes and instructional materials. There are 6 layouts that are double page spreads, and then there's a single page layout. Now let's talk, at the very beginning I showed you the larger frame that was made out of the 12-inch by 12-inch paper. So it's the exact same technique but on a larger scale. You're working with the 12-inch by 12-inch designer paper. You're folding it on the diagonal and you're punching the inside edge with the punch. And you're starting at the outside edge and you punch as far as you can to the center, and then you punch on the other side from the outside into the center as far as you can. You open it up, you refold it on the diagonal, and then you punch the remaining pieces that you need to punch there on the two ends. So it's the exact same technique as we did on the smaller scale, except the frame, you're going to be starting with a 2-inch frame. If you recall the little photo frame we made, I started at 1.5 inches. So you can see I have less space here. So that was a 1.5 inch frame, and this was a 2-inch frame that I started with. And you can see how beautiful it would be to do some layering and create a layout that looks like something like that. And in the page classes that I mentioned, I've created a double page layout using this technique, and that's one of the layouts that you would make during my page classes. So thank you so much for visiting with me today. I hope to share more of these technique videos with you in the future. Bye-bye now.